Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks are optioning Jordan Lawlar to Reno, and they are re-signing Ildermaro Vargas. We have all the reasons why this might not necessarily all be Lawlar's fault. Also, we're going to preview the upcoming series with the Nationals. And is this a must-win series? Probably, with the way things is going for this team right now. So don't you go anywhere. We're starting in 30 seconds. They told me not to do this anymore, but I don't care. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K, it's the PHNX Diamondbacks show from beautiful downtown Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as a huge Johnny Venerable fan, and I'm so glad to see you guys here with us. Welcome into the PHNX Diamondbacks show, presented by our friends at Game Time and Bet365. Of course, make sure to use our code of PHNX365 when you go over to Game Time, or excuse me, Bet365. It's never ordinary. Bet365. You'll get yourself some bonus bets. Of course, go over to Game Time. $20 off your first purchase thanks to code PHNX over there. I got my guy, large intimate Kevin Thomas, on the ones and twos today. And of course, based on your YouTube comments, might have to make some changes around here. But before we get to that, there are definitely some changes happening for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ski to you, Kevin. Welcome in. How is your day going, by the way?
Ski to you, chat as well. Yesterday was good. I was off yesterday, got to rest up, and I'm ready to talk some Dbacks today if I'm allowed.
You are allowed. You might be allowed. We'll see. We'll get around to that. I need to see your credentials, though.
Damn it. My wallet was actually recently stolen.
Yeah, you had a bad weekend.
So I don't actually have any credentials.
Should we talk about how bad your weekend is before? Because here's the thing is that, you were rooting against a certain team for a certain team, and we don't need to specify which teams those were. But we can say that you did experience ramifications of that bad karma almost immediately.
You could say I universally sacrificed my weekend and some things, in my personal life just so that the Cardinals could have won. And honestly, chat will be happy to hear this. If that's the case, karmically, I regret the whole damn thing.
You should.
I wish I was eating cereal today as a result.
Hey, we're going to get him on board with all of our stuff. But welcome into you guys. Glad to have you here. Of course, you're right. Karen is absolutely right. She says Derek is so happy today because there is no Dbacks game to ruin his day. Look, sometimes in life, I do have a philosophy of eliminating things in life that upset me. And if there weren't so many attachments to this Diamondbacks team, I might be watching a whole lot of The Last of Us, although that's also starting to upset me. And I'm not done with the season, but based on what I've seen, it's going to very much upset me. Something that might not upset you as a fan is to hear, according to John Gambadoro, my good pal over there at the Diamondbacks games, the Diamondbacks are optioning infielder Jordan Lawlar to Triple-A Reno, and they will be bringing back Ildermaro Vargas. He will be taking Lawlar's roster spot on the Major League roster. Vargas did enact his opt-out contract, which we've talked about on the show. The Diamondbacks did go pick up infielder Nicky Lopez, so I thought maybe there was a chance that what we were seeing there was a replacement for Vargas. It turns out that Vargas might have just been opting out of his minor league contract so he could sign a major league one with the Diamondbacks team. So this is where we're at now. Gambo had stated that Vargas will re-sign that major league deal with the club, so those moves should be official soon. But it really is no surprise right now. And I don't think anybody that watched the finale of the Pirates series is really against this at this point, right? Lawlar's numbers this year have been atrocious, and there's no other way to describe it. Lawlar has made some incredible defensive plays. I felt like he was solid there, and I'm going to maybe defend him a little bit on this program. But first, before I defend him, I have to indict him. There are some pretty damning numbers in regards to Lawlar's career this season. He currently has a negative .2 B-WAR, baseball reference WAR. His batting average is 0. The man is 0 for 19. He does have a 136 on-base percentage based on the walks that he's had this year. But I think the biggest, craziest stat is his OPS plus, which currently sits at minus 58. That's minus 58 for Jordan Lawlar. Now, 100 is league average for OPS plus. So taking a look at him having a minus 58 OPS plus kind of boggles the mind. I do know a big problem with Jordan Lawlar based on the reports, even prior to him getting called up, was the breaking ball, right? Dbacks fan in Texas says, but he can't hit the curve right now either. And again, yeah, it seemed like there was something about Jordan Lawlar at a major league level that was not working out in several ways. But defensively, Lawlar was fairly solid, especially when asked to play shortstop or third base. What I will say is, was it fair for the Diamondbacks to ask of Jordan Lawlar what they asked of him? Mark R in the chat says craziest stat is that he's played in 8 games and has a minus 0.4 FWAR. How is that?
0.44?
4. I love it. 0.4 FWAR. I'm glad Jesse doesn't like it when I say boir and foir, but I love it. So 0.4 foir. And Nicholas Gruder says minus 58 OPS plus. That's where he stands, right? Now, I'm not going to say that the Diamondbacks asking Jordan Lawlar to play 3 different defensive positions is what was impacting his bat necessarily. I will say that there's other things involving his development that obviously Jordan Lawlar still needed to work on. The problem is that playing for the Reno Aces, Kevin, is like playing MLB The Show on easy. Or maybe even, is there an easier level than easy? Is there like a beginner practice level? Like whatever the baseline level is. Now, I was once teased on this program for playing this show on pro or whatever the
doesn't it go like rookie, semi-pro, pro? No, because it's rookie then veteran. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever the normal like level of MLB The Show is, that's what I played it on, and I got teased incessantly from Jesse and Damon Dog. Of course, this is playing for the Reno Aces is beginner level. It's the easiest level that you can imagine. It's one level above you playing both teams at the same time, picking the pitch on one controller and throwing it, knowing exactly where it's going to go and what pitch it is on the other controller, and then smashing it for a home run and somehow being satisfied with the results of that. That's what playing in Reno is like, right? So it's not always an actual indicator of how good a player is doing offensively. It is great for guys to go down and get right and to believe in themselves and all of that, because baseball can tend to be that, right? Baseball can tend to be a game where you just need to believe that you can hit the ball. And that's what is positive here for Jordan Lawlar being sent back down to Reno, is his development is going to continue. And there's weaknesses in his game that are very apparent now that they can really focus in on and try to make improvements in those areas, specifically work on those areas. One thing I don't think that he needed to work on was his defense on the left side of the infield. I think that Jordan Lawlar was a very good defender over there. But when I take a step back to what I was saying, I wonder again how fair it was to ask him to come up and, in order to get enough playing time throughout a week, basically back up at all the infield positions outside of first base. And it's not to say that he hasn't proven already at a minor league level that he could play second base. That's not the question. It's a matter of playing it at a fairly elite level, which I can say, I guess, with my eye test and what we've seen so far, I still feel like he does play third base and shortstop at a major league level. I just don't really, feel like he can necessarily be asked to come up, play all 3 positions at a major league level and have success. He did a decent job of that, but we also saw that kind of fall apart on him a little bit. Karen had a great question in the chat. She says, if that is true, Derek, how can we successfully evaluate players in AAA? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that, because honestly, we've said, like, when we have guys like the debut that was made by Ryan Nelson, also fire in my blood. Dre, right? Dre Jameson. These guys had, if you look back on, the ERA they had when they were in Reno, it was atrocious. I'm going to try to find it really fast, considering I wasn't planning on talking about this, but neither guy had numbers that you were truly excited about seeing a pitcher get called up. So it's also on the opposite side of the ball, right? Like how can you really assess what a player's current level is at when they're playing in like a bounce house, which is what Reno seems like at times, right? It's hard, but so Ryan Nelson had a 4.15 ERA, or excuse me, 5.43 ERA when he was originally called up to the major league roster. There's nothing about a 5.43 ERA that's going to excite you about a guy getting added to the major league roster. And in fact, I believe that Ryan Nelson's debut was he did well when he got called up, but not a lot of people, there wasn't a lot of fanfare around it. That's what I was trying to say. I was going to say was kind of a disappointment, not disappointment. He just did not have a lot of excitement connected to that. Meanwhile, Dre Jameson had a 5.79 ERA when he got called up to the Arizona Diamondbacks major league team. And then he ends up having a 3.32 ERA that season with the major league club. Right now, Dre Jameson has a 7.11 ERA in Reno. Probably come up and pitch 10 shutout innings in relief if they called him up. I don't know how you can successfully evaluate talent from Triple-A Reno. I mean, there are times where when you see rehab starts and the players from the major league club choose to have their rehab start somewhere else other than Reno, like when Merrill Kelly had his for the Hillsboro Hops and guys choose maybe Amarillo. And Amarillo isn't a great choice either. That's another area where, again, the ball really flies out of Amarillo and you don't really have a great assessment in Hodgetown of how, guys are doing. I don't really know the how you assess. I think what you do is you look at factors outside of those numbers. You look at things outside of ERAs, win-loss. You look at stuff. You look at some of those, StatCast metrics. You look at other things for hitters. Again, how hard they're hitting the ball, what their exit velo is, launch angle, stuff like that. I just, again, there's Michael Dixon says that there's a lot of analytics and too much thinking getting in their own way, and that's definitely something that could be that could be a possibility. But I think it's hard, and I think that we can't judge based on the results that necessarily we're seeing from a player in Reno what they're going to do at a major league level. Now, meanwhile, the guy they're bringing back is Ildermaro Vargas. He was someone who we have talked about a little bit. I had regrets when I thought that maybe Vargas was moving on. I thought that he might be a better fit for what the Diamondbacks are looking for right now out of a utility infielder. And the main reason why is because of his career at a major league level. Vargas doesn't have numbers that are going to blow you away, but he has a career 1.7 BWAR. He has a slash line in his career of 289, 354, 643 with an OPS plus of 77, right? Not a guy that's going to be the savior of this team, not a guy that's going to come up and give you a ton of offense, but a guy who, once again, is going to provide you with some, decent at-bats and give you an opportunity to win baseball games, basically is what Vargas might do, might give you a better chance to win baseball games over someone like Jordan Lawlar. Lawlar isn't the reason the Diamondbacks lost that game to the Pirates. Let's be honest, right? But at the same time, those extended innings, those errors that he made, those are the things that were, I guess, defensively was what was keeping him on the major league team for now, because he was playing, defense so well. And then those mistakes creep up, and now it looks like he is fairly, useless at a major league level. I don't feel like that's the case. I think now there's some real weaknesses that they can hone in on and try to work with him on his development. I don't think he's a bust. I don't think he's not going to be back here at a major league level. Hell, I think there's a good chance Lawlar might even be back this season, to possibly add to this roster. I'm not sure what's going to happen with him, but I do believe in him, and I think a lot of people should. This might just be for the best for now, though. And again, this was something that I tried to pump the brakes about simply because of the fact that Lawlar hadn't had much playing time at second base, and that was really going to be one of the positions they were going to ask him to fill in at a lot. You're not going to really put Geraldo Perdomo on the bench too often. You don't really want to, miss Gino's bat. Gino's defense over there is pretty good. Ketel, meanwhile, is a guy that not necessarily is injury prone, but does miss some time and is a guy that you typically want to get off his feet, but don't want him out of your lineup, right? You could probably say the same thing about Gino. I just feel like Gino at third base is a little bit more sound defensively. That was going to result this entire time in Jordan Lawlar being asked to play second quite a bit. In the case of Ketel missing time due to having the flu, that was an unforeseen circumstance, and Jordan had to be asked to play that position a little bit more than I'm sure the Diamondbacks anticipated. However, it did reveal a little bit, his weaknesses there defensively. And again, his bat just hasn't been good enough for him to continue to be in the starting lineup every day. If he's not in the starting lineup every day, you do not want him up at a major league level, period. Jordan Lawlar is far too valuable as a top prospect to this organization to not have him getting regular at-bats. And if those regular at-bats are happening in Reno, where he's going to hit 400 and smash the ball, then so be it, because that's much better than his confidence continuing to dwindle here at a major league level, and also his playing time, right? Because the more he struggles, the less you're going to play him, and you don't want that guy sitting on the bench. So the results now is that Jordan Lawlar gets sent down to Triple-A Reno, and I still don't think what they asked of him was fair. However, it was an attempt at getting him as much playing time as Torrey could possibly get him, right? So, in the end, I think it's going to be a matter of him continuing his development. Nicholas Gruters said trade him. He's logjam with Domo here for the next 6 years. Not really, because I believe Gino Suarez is a free agent after the season, is he not? So I think that there's a good chance that Jordan Lawlar could be the third baseman of the future for this team, and that might be their plan. However, he needs to be able to hit at a major league level in order for that to happen. I also say the trade him thing always happens at a terrible time, because we always want to trade him when they're doing poorly. And I don't know. I don't know much about value and stocks and trading, but I do know that typically you don't want to do it when their value is fairly low. So anyway, let's take a look real fast at the NL West standings just to remind us of how bad things are right now. Things aren't terrible. They could definitely be worse for this team. There's been some losses of other teams in the National League West. Some of these other teams haven't ran away with it. They weren't as hot as they were early on in April and early in the month of May. So even though the Diamondbacks have slipped below 500 and currently sit at 27-29 in fourth place, you don't really have a 10-plus game lead from the Dodgers, which really feels like where the Diamondbacks should be at based on how things have gone. Dodgers sit atop of the division at 34-22. The Padres are in third at 21-23. The Padres in second at 31-23. Giants in third at 31-25. The Diamondbacks sit in fourth place at 27-29, and that's pretty much it. It's a 4-team division. This isn't a 5-team division. It's just a 4-team division. The Rockies, meanwhile, are on pace to lose over 130 baseball games this season, making them
relegate them
historically the worst team in baseball history.
Relegate them. Send them to Reno.
Things could be worse.
Send the whole team to Reno.
I'm just saying things could be worse. Nicholas Gruters says only 7 games back. We're in there like swimwear, baby. All right. Well, I think we got a super chat from Nicholas, don't we? We got a super chat. Let's get to that before we move on. We're about to go on a 10-game win streak. You heard it here first. Well, Nicholas, I hope that's the case, my man, because the Diamondbacks need it, and they start with a very important series against the Nationals. I do not want to get all doom and gloom, but I know you guys want me to, so I'm going to anyway. We are going to discuss on the other side of this break if this series against the Nationals is a must-win. Spoiler alert, it absolutely is. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Of course, Circle K is a great place to go if you need to cool down, maybe get yourself something to drink and think about things. And I'll tell you, it's America's thirst stop for a reason. Right now, they have for everybody $1 medium iced coffees. They have 2 for $13 on Pepsi and Mountain Dew 15 packs and Gatorade 12 packs. That's a killer deal compared to how much those things can cost you in a supermarket. They also have you covered with lunch, which I still have to buy for Kevin. They got you a $3 meal deal which might have to suffice for what my current budget is.
Chicken wings.
You get a hot dog or a tornado. You get select Frito-Lay chips, Kevin, and you get yourself a Polar Pop up to 44 ounces. That sounds like a pretty good deal. I gotta get you one more item. We agreed on 4 items, so we'll figure it out. But
chicken wings.
Look at all that you can get for $3 at Circle K, and of course, make sure to join the Inner Circle for free. You'll save even more. All you gotta do is download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. But when you do, like I said, you'll save even more than this. You'll get your first 5 Polar Pops for free. You'll save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. So do it now. Also, if you are an Arizona sports fan here in the Valley, you should be doing your banking with Desert Financial Credit Union. There's no better place to do your banking because, of course, they have those wonderful cards that feature your favorite teams, including the Arizona Cardinals, Arizona State University, and Northern Arizona University. And of course, for more than 84 years, right here in Arizona, Desert Financial has been the largest, most trusted local credit union. They got me started on my home ownership journey, and they took care of me. Hopefully they can get you started as well. Their team are financial experts who are committed to their members and giving back to the community as well. They also offer financial solutions that are tailored to your goals and what you are looking to accomplish. So check them out right now. When you open a free checking account online, you get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Well, the Diamondbacks have a series here with the Washington Nationals. And at one point when they faced the Nationals in DC, they were on a little bit of a roll. They just had finished off a fairly hot Mets team and won 2 out of 3 against them. And they rolled into DC looking to kind of squash a pretty bad Mets team. I'm sure you've heard this before because I feel like this is the same tale we told right before they faced the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, the Diamondbacks are in a much different position after losing to said Pirates. There is no point that you can really say a series during a regular season is a must win, especially not a series that starts on May 30th, for God's sake. But I'm going to say it. This series is a must win. The Diamondbacks have to beat the Nationals. Right now, they need this more than they need air. It's more than they need water, more than they need food, more than they need to do some, fundamental drills. The Diamondbacks have to take care of business because this Nationals team right now is struggling. Maybe one of the only teams that is struggling worse than the Diamondbacks. However, there's a big difference here, and that is that the Diamondbacks have lost 7 of their last 10. Meanwhile, the Nationals, despite their numbers, come in winning 7 of their last 10. So, of course, just like the Cardinals, we catch them when they're hot. Couldn't be any hotter. Let's take a look at the Nationals at a glance. Currently have a record of 25-30 with a -47 run differential. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They have a starting pitching ERA of 5.04, which is good for 26th in Major League Baseball. They have a relief pitching ERA of 6.11, which is 29th in Major League Baseball. And they have -15 outs above average, Kevin. That is good for dead last in Major League Baseball, the polar opposite of your St. Louis Cardinals. Now, what happened against the Cardinals is we saw the Cardinals actually make some defensive mistakes that helped the Diamondbacks out. So, of course, in this series, the Nationals are going to play their best defense that they've ever played. Just flawless, error-free, looking like the Harlem Globetrotters facing the Washington Generals, right?
That worked out pretty well.
I didn't even mean for that to happen, but here we are.
I like Mark's observation here in the chat. Mark says, wait, they have a worse bullpen than us? That's possible?
Not much, Mark. Hold on. Not much. Let's remember that the Diamondbacks currently sit, I think, at 25th, I want to say. The Diamondbacks aren't a whole heck of a lot better. I don't even want to look it up, but I'm going to, so while we're taking a look at those numbers. But, yeah, no, it's hard to believe overall that there would be any team that has a worse bullpen than the Diamondbacks this season, but believe it or not, that is the case. And again, this is why I say that this is a must-win series. I think somebody in the chat, maybe it was Jay Cuddy or Nicholas Gruder, said, of course, this is a must-win series. There it is, Nicholas Gruder's no, this is a must-win. And yeah, it's because this is one of those you got to take care of business. I'm not expecting the Diamondbacks to necessarily sweep anybody at this point, but I'm definitely suggesting that the Diamondbacks need to win the series against the Nationals. Right now, the Diamondbacks are, excuse me. That's That's not great. Let's Diamondbacks do not have a great ERA this season. I know they are 29th. Diamondbacks are 27th. So again, they might have a worse bullpen, but it's not by much currently. Let's take a look at the probable pitchers because the Nationals gave us absolutely nothing. So we just decided to make up our own.
So this is what you get when you look at the MLB website.
Yeah, this is what you get. This is what they give you. Did we do our own calculation here? I think we did. There we go. That's way better. That's way better. Wait, is his name still TBD in there?
It's not still TBD.
We almost got it. We almost got out. But all right, we got Merrill Kelly. Hypothetically, we know who the Diamondbacks have going for them. So we got Merrill Kelly in game 1. Merrill Kelly has been outstanding this year. 5-2. He has a 3.52 ERA. And Merrill currently is in a position to tie Kurt Schilling for the 3rd most wins in franchise history with this in game 1. He will, like I said, hypothetically be going up against Jake Irvin, who is 4-1 for the Nationals. He has a 3.42 ERA this season in 11 starts, and he has been doing pretty good. 1.10 WHIP, 47 strikeouts this season. You also have there in game 2, you got Brandon Pfaadt going up. That's supposed to be Michael Soroka. The fixture is Michael Soroka, but his last name is not TBD. He has a 1-3 record with a 5.61 ERA, so you feel pretty good about that game 2. Game 1 feels like a fairly marquee matchup in this series, but you have to feel good about the starting pitching matchups for game 2 and 3. You also have to feel good about a 3-game series where the Diamondbacks have essentially their 3 best starters going in that series, and it's hard to not have Zach Gallen as part of that conversation, but the truth is the truth right now. Zach Gallen has not been good this year, and he is not. You can't consider Zach Gallen part of the best 3 pitchers right now in the starting rotation. You might want to throw Ryne Nelson in that conversation a little bit, but hey, that's not a bad conversation to be having when you factor in Ryne Nelson. Another problem here with Ryne Nelson, as we discussed a bit on yesterday's show, is that there is a return on the horizon of Eduardo Rodriguez. And I am not excited about how Erod's return is going to impact the team. I'm cautiously optimistic that Rodriguez will be better than he was prior to this time off. However, I don't know what the Diamondbacks are going to do in regards to their starting lineup. How do you put someone back in your starting lineup with a 5 ERA when, quite frankly, Ryne Nelson has been shoving? And Ryne Nelson has been shoving in a way where he is doing whatever the team asks of him to do, and he succeeds. Maybe some of his relief outings weren't clean or as good as we've seen him be at times. No pitcher is perfect, and especially when you're kind of being asked to be this Swiss Army knife and go out there when a starting pitcher falls apart or gets injured, or you're going to pitch 4 innings in this game and maybe 1 inning in this game. Ryne Nelson did whatever was asked of him, right? And I think right now what should be asked of Ryne Nelson is to be a starting pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't know how the other decisions factor in. I do know that we've seen this organization not shy away from putting their best players in that position despite what they are making, despite what their bank account, how much money their bank account has in it, despite how much contractually you're paying them, right? They made Jordan Montgomery the highest paid reliever in baseball last year. It's not to say something that they should, not do if Ryne Nelson at the end of the day is going to give this team a better chance to win, right? So there was talk about going to a 6-man rotation. However, Corbin Burns is the cog that doesn't really spin in that idea, because Corbin Burns does not want to have that much rest. In fact, that's what caused an issue with him not pitching on opening day and missing a start, was the fact that Corbin Burns doesn't like to pitch on an irregular amount of rest. He typically likes to keep it to his 4 or 5 days. A 6-man pitching rotation with days off would not allow for that. There's a chance that they could get crafty with the pitching rotation and they could ensure that Burns stays on his regular rest and still factor Ryne Nelson in as a 6th starter. But yeah, Nicholas Gruters has some good takes today. He says if they boot Ryne out of the rotation, I'll crash out big time. You and me both, pal. You and me both. Because again, it feels like Ryne Nelson right now has won that job to be a starting pitcher and hasn't done anything to lose it as of yet. And
additionally, it feels like Erod has done a lot to lose that spot.
Right.
So it's two things going in opposite directions.
Prove it to me.
Exactly.
Earn it. Earn it at this point. You haven't done anything in your time with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, seriously, right? He was injured the majority of last year. Comes in this year, kind of had himself a good spring training, but not something that blew your mind, right? He wasn't having like the Corbin Burns there for a while, and spring training was everything we thought Corbin Burns was going to be, right? So Erod has a chance to come back and prove that he earns a spot in the rotation. However, whatever happens once Rodriguez returns, it feels like it's going to ultimately impact the bullpen. And that's something that is I have no idea how that's all going to work out. I have no idea how, I don't know how AJ Puck returning is going to impact the bullpen. I have no idea who's going to be a part of this bullpen. Ryan Thompson struggles and then comes out with no pressure on him and looks amazing in his one inning of work. Meanwhile, Scott McGough, who has been fairly flawless so far, gives up that home run. And I mean, I there's a lot of guys in the bullpen right now that aren't performing well, but still have had good stints. There's also guys that you've just grown to trust that right now you might not trust. So what do you do with those guys? Kevin Ginkel is one of those guys. He still has options. So there's a possibility that he could be sent down to Reno as well. I just don't really know how all of this is going to impact the Diamondbacks bullpen. Whatever happens, it needs to help, right? And that's what the Diamondbacks desperately need right now is some help with their relievers. They've lost their last 3 series in a row. Again, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They just kind of have to stop this downward spiral at this point. I don't want to get too doomsday because, again, we talked about how the Diamondbacks were in a worse position at this same time last year. Somebody left a very poignant comment on our video about there were factors. And I think that's why this year feels so much different than last year, right? Last year, we were still riding high off of the Diamondbacks making it to the World Series. There were a lot of excuses you could make, and I'm sure we made plenty of them for this team, right? The shortened off season, the fact that you did lose Merrill and Erod to injuries so early in the season and were without them for, a significant stretch. There were a lot of things you could point back to, right? Corbin Carroll's struggles and Gino's struggles early on. In fact, that those guys turned it back around midway through the season. I guess the point of looking back on last year, despite the fact that this year's team seems to be in a much worse spot than they were last year, is that even though their record was what it was, they were able to turn things around. That is the only thing that I can believe in right now, and I think that you as a fan can believe in right now, is that this team has the talent on it to turn things around, but can they, right? And we've seen it in the past. They've seen it in the past. They know that they can continue to believe in themselves and believe in their teammates. But right now, you don't necessarily have all of those factors that you had from last season impacting the team for why they have such a slow start and why they're losing some of these games that, quite frankly, they have no business losing. And yeah, there were some games, like I know this year seems frustrating, but damn it, there were so many games last year early on that the Diamondbacks let slip away in the same fashion. Torrey was asked if there's any benefit to these, mistakes coming so early in the season. And yeah, there are, is that these aren't these critical mistakes that are happening. We're not drifting away in these games like that infamous Brewers game late in the season from last year. It just doesn't mean that right now these games aren't important and they're not going to come into being important later on in the season when the Diamondbacks are trying to make the playoffs and make the postseason. So that's why this right now for me is such an important series. Not only is it against a weak team, but the Diamondbacks need a win. They need a series win. They need to come out and believe in themselves again, right? I almost feel like our lack of faith in this team is nothing compared to maybe what they're feeling right now. I hope that's not the case, but it's definitely not, a great time right now for this team, and they're not performing well in several ways. And yes, a lot of frustration in that clubhouse, I'm sure. So, what we're going to talk about is another pitcher that one time made us very sad, because why not? Let's keep on this roll. We're going to do a little Throwback Thursday action on the other side of this break, and we're going to talk about our guy, Byung-Hyun Kim. So don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Of course, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has over 90 million users worldwide, and for good reason. They make watching live sports more fun. They pioneered live in-game betting, and they currently offer the widest range of games and markets available across 78 sports for live in-game betting. They also have their early payout offers, which again, when some of these games go sideways on the team, at the very least, you don't lose. With the MLB early payout offer, you are a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs or more, and that marks your straight bet and parlay selections as winners. So, of course, get down on the Bet365 app today. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use our code of PHNX365 when you do. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 or more to receive $150 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your wager. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. And I'll tell you, right now is a great time to get some new flooring installed in your house. It's hot outside. If you have that old carpet, get rid of that carpet. Get yourself some tile that you can lay down on and cool yourself off. And a great company to do that with is Empire Today. You know them, you love them. They are flooring experts, and that is what sets them apart from all those other flooring companies and all those big box stores. You go into those big box stores, you wander around, you have to talk to 5 different people before you talk to the person that knows anything about flooring. And even they have very little interest in discussing this with you. Go to people that love flooring, eat, sleep, and breathe flooring. That's our guys at Empire Today. Of course, why is it your best bet for new flooring? Empire Today will be with you every step of the way. So it's a whole new ball game. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home, so that way you can see how all of those samples will look in comparison to the colors in your home, the lighting, everything. You will pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space, plus get precise measurements taken and have all of your questions answered so there are no surprises. Also, you'll get it done faster than anywhere else. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront pricing that's all inclusive, plus you can schedule your installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. You heard that right, a $350 discount with code PHNX. Restrictions do apply. Visit EmpireToday/PHNX for full details.
Derek, in the chat, there's a pretty interesting conversation going on, and I wanted to ask you the same question. I forget who. It was Mark R. What will be the next Valley sports team to make the playoffs?
Oof, that's do the Mammoth count?
Gross.
Okay.
Boo.
All right. Well, I mean,
How is this guy's
Yeah.
Tomato.
Oh, I'm a Dodgers fan.
Yeah, there he is. There he is. No, the Diamondbacks, goddammit. That's the answer to this question. The Diamondbacks are the next Valley team to make the playoffs. Maybe the Cardinals. I don't know. Jay Cuddy, yes, really. The reason why I say that is because that damn team in Utah is once again benefiting off of all of our years of watching that team struggle, and now they get awesome players, and it makes me sick. It all makes me sick. I know. I'm sorry.
The real answer is the Cardinals. Because I think they were talking about like the top 3. You know what I mean? The major sports. But I think like the WNBA, like the Mercury.
Oh, of course.
They might fit like this.
The Mercury is our franchise.
They
Mercury
could make a legitimate
greatest
run this
franchise
year.
in Valley history.
They could make a legitimate run this year.
Yeah.
More on that on PHNX Mercury.
Yeah. Go watch them. That's a different show. We do Throwback Thursday on this show. It's not Monday. You know what we do on Monday, even though we missed it this week. Throwback Thursday, though, on this date in May 29th, which, by the way, I kind of stole some of my own Throwback Thursday thunder last week, right? I went ahead and I was digging in. I was finding stuff. I brought up that Josh Colmentor had faced the minimum of 27 batters while still allowing 3 hits in the game against the Reds. And that happened on today. Well, not today's date, but yeah, today's date. That happened on today's date. How did I screw that up and do that last week when that actually happened on today's date? Another thing I covered was that one time, Arizona Diamondback relief pitching great Byung-Hyun Kim was traded to the Boston Red Sox on this day in 2003 for Mesa, Arizona native Shea Hillenbrand. But also on this same day, that man, Byung-Hyun Kim, became the youngest player in Major League Baseball at the time to record a save in his Major League debut. That happened on May 29th, 1999. It preserved an 8-7 victory for the Dbacks over the New York Mets. And of course, there was, it's kind of rare. Didn't really happen. He pitched a ninth inning. He had pitched a perfect ninth inning with a strikeout. And Byung-Hyun Kim, a guy who in his tenure for the Arizona Diamondbacks still has a bad stigma with people like me that lived through that era, that went through it. Not only was he an amazing relief pitcher, but he also he might be the grandfather of the bullpen experience for this Diamondbacks team. It was never ever I guess a sure thing when Kim was in there. Though once he first started with this team, I remember him being fairly outstanding. When you look at his numbers total with the Diamondbacks, because he did play a number of years here as a member of this team, he actually has some pretty good numbers, Kevin. He had a 3.43 ERA in 6 seasons with the Diamondbacks. He had an 8.3 WAR, a 1.204 whip, and he gave up 0.9 home runs per 9 inning, which still doesn't sound right based on just thinking about that man giving up those home runs to the New York Yankees in the World Series. However, do you know why we didn't run him out of town? Do you know why he's not the biggest villain on the planet? Because the Diamondbacks won that World Series. Had they not, and still to this day, having lived it, having breathed it, having watched it with my own 2 eyes, I distinctly remember hating him as a reliever just based on that. Sean says, Derek, do you remember when Kim had a towel fly out of his out of his jersey and he got tossed? Yes, I do remember that. He did have a towel fly out of his jersey and he got tossed. That was one of those moments that definitely made you be like, what is this guy doing? Right. However, overall, I would take his career numbers with the Diamondbacks right now, and I would put him in at high leverage situations for this team, without a doubt in my mind, Kevin. A 3.43 ERA? Get out of here. Get out of here. Show me somebody in the bullpen that has that besides Scott McGough.
I wish I could, Derek. I really wish I could.
Shelby? I don't know. This isn't good. But hats off to Kim, because incredible guy. Incredible pitching motion. By the way, Jack Summers and I went down this rabbit hole the other day for a solid 45 minutes of watching outfielders, historic outfielders make amazing throws in baseball, like just incredible throws. You know who has the greatest arm of anybody we watch clips of, Kevin?
Who?
Roberto Clemente. That man could throw the ball with pinpoint accuracy from as far deep in the right field corner as you could possibly imagine, and without it touching the ground, have it land in the catcher's mitt to ensure that no runs are scoring. So I could go back down that rabbit hole right now because that was a whole lot of fun to watch. Baseball is one of those particular sports that you can literally hone in on one thing, and there's a variety of videos and clips to go dig into. It doesn't matter how good, bad, or stupid it actually is. But we got some more reports for you guys. But of course, I did need to let you know right now is a very short sale going on, and it's not really here for a long time. It's a summer flash sale, and it is for you to join us and become a member of our Die Hard community. Right now, it's only going through Thursday at midnight. You can get a Die Hard membership for just $36. It does include that shirt. So of course, if you were saying to yourself, hey, I need that Jesse Jr. shirt. I need the Go Snake shirt. I need some of their new stuff from this year. Maybe even need that classic, the Diamondbacks bat tee that is the perfect shirt to wear under a jersey. I made sure that they designed this shirt specifically for a jersey. Look at how amazing that is down there. Start of summer intro offer, $36 right now. You get access to our Discord lounge. You get, of course, all of the benefits. And most importantly, you just join a community of Arizona sports fans that become friends, best friends, I would say. I would venture to say that these people are maybe closer to me than some of my own members of my family. Members of my family have not bought me a Serpientes jersey, Kevin. So I mean, the diehards win right there, but they're also tremendous people who have found friendship on their own. In fact, they sometimes get together. They don't invite me. I get very jealous. I'm like, why wasn't I a part of this? Usually they did invite me and I just missed it though.
I think that's the biggest like homage. That's like the biggest honor is that you could be such a connector for people. You know what I mean?
I'm too humble for that, Kevin. I'm too humble for that. All right. I can't go on and say I'm a connector of people. I do say I'm the glue that keeps my entire family together, but that's just the truth. That's not me saying crazy things. But again, make sure to join us over here. Become a diehard member. It's the best place. I really enjoy our diehard family. So great to see you guys that have already joined. And I'll tell you what, if you do join and become a diehard during this summer sale, drop us a message. Let us know that you did. I'll give you a shout out on the show, and I'll even give you a new nickname. It's not going to be good as large intimate, but it'll be decent. I'll definitely give it my all. But we got, of course, some things to talk about. We do know the Diamondbacks are going to be turning to Ildermaro Vargas, and we don't know that Jordan Lawlar is going to be optioned to Triple-A Reno. So since we're talking a little bit about that, let's take a trip down to the snake farm, because as you know, like a good neighbor, the snake farm is there. It's not even that far. Reno we can get there a couple of hours, but they're not doing so hot, the Reno Aces. So maybe that's part of the problem, is that we don't really have a well of talent to dig into because those guys aren't doing so great. The Reno Aces just snapped a 7-game losing streak. And after they snapped it, Kevin, they immediately entered into a 4-game losing streak. But they did win last night, snapping that 4-game losing streak. And a big part of that was Tommy Henry, an old friend, of course. Tommy Henry had an incredible night. He went out there and pitched 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run, didn't walk anybody, struck out 6. Overall, Tommy Henry's numbers in Reno haven't been very good. But again, I caution you that could be due to Reno being Reno. But Tommy Henry, another guy that has major league experience, another guy that could end up being called up to this major league roster this year, either to be a part of the starting rotation, hope that's not the case, or maybe to fill in a long relief role. Maybe if Ryne Nelson does end up staying in the starting rotation, maybe Tommy Henry could see some time. Blaze Alexander was 1 for 4 in that game. He had 2 RBI and a walk. Jorge Barosa was 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 walks. Just a night where everybody kind of contributed. Trey Mancini 1 for 4 with an RBI, and then catcher Michael Perez was also 1 for 4 with an RBI. So the Diamondbacks, again, the Aces not doing so hot this year. We don't really care about the results there, but again, we want to see a little bit of production, maybe some guys again that kind of you can look to maybe fill in some of these roles. And I think that this is a terrible position for the Diamondbacks to be in, quite frankly, considering how much depth they had. And I will keep pounding that drum this season, but we could not talk enough about how much depth they had back in March. And yet here we are to a point where the Diamondbacks are kind of looking for a spark, maybe looking for a guy to get called up. Maybe Jake McCarthy gets sent down, hits 400, and then comes back up. Jake McCarthy did that for a short period of time, but then he also came back down to earth for the Reno Aces. And quite frankly, not necessarily doing what you'd expect Jake McCarthy to do for the Reno Aces currently. Let me take a look at his current line, but right now, Jake McCarthy is slashing for the Reno Aces 296, 391, 409 with an 800 OPS. But that is in Reno, and that's in 28 games, so I don't really know. I would love it if that translated over to McCarthy being able to have those same numbers at a major league level, and if he did, he'd be one of the biggest contributors to the starting lineup right now. So, but right now, we'll see. Ildermaro Vargas is going to get an opportunity, and it's going to be interesting to see how his major league experience can impact the Diamondbacks team. Right now, that's kind of what they need. I feel like a little bit of a veteran presence, maybe a guy to have some, just some words of wisdom for the younger guys. I'm not going to make Ildermaro Vargas out to be that old, but he does have, some substantial playing time. So there's a good chance that he could fill that role of a veteran leader that not necessarily the Diamondbacks don't necessarily have right now out there. But sometimes, that's right now, Jordan Lawlar has to go. Jordan Lawlar has to go to Reno, and he has to get better. And again, there was a lot of criticism his way, and it's understandable based on his performance. So that's fine and good. But there's also a lot of criticism thrown our way. on this show. There's a lot of people that feel like they need to tell us about how we're performing, and usually that comes in the form of YouTube comments. Now, we were told several times, so many times, don't read the YouTube comments. So many people told us, our parents told us that, peers. I mean, it seems like common knowledge not to go into the cesspool known as YouTube comments. However, it's hard not to. And sometimes, like the earlier comment about the Diamondbacks season last year, sometimes those comments are good. Sometimes I like them. Sometimes you guys are very smart, as so many of you here are. You guys know ball if you're watching this show. So I appreciate that. However, again, some of those comments are about our own personal performance on this show. And we had a comment the other day that we have to address. We can't not address it. And Kevin, you might not like this, but we need to put this up here. This comes from Sean McFarlane 5419 on YouTube. And Sean says, in regards to Kevin being the producer on the show that we did about the St. Louis Cardinals beating the Arizona Diamondbacks, Sean said the following: a whole city of fans, and you guys can't hire fans of the team. It's just like our home games. Half the fans are for the other team. Now the faces on your show aren't even both fans of the Snakes. You guys suck. I'll watch Jesse's show more from now on. Scathing comments, Sean. But you know what? He's right. He's right. And I am sick of having this turncoat, Kevin Thomas, on this show. So, Kevin, I guess, what do we do here? I don't feel like, do we have another, I mean, how do we address this at this point? I feel like we have no choice but to get rid of you.
I think I got to pack it up, Derek.
Well,
it's been a good ride, but I think I got to pack it up.
Here's the thing. I take these comments very seriously. So when people on YouTube go in there and tell me things like I'm an idiot or I'm a clown, I literally go in the mirror and look at myself, tears streaming down my face, pointing at myself in the chest going, you're an idiot. Sometimes I put the clown nose on. Sometimes I put a little white makeup on and I just put on a wig, you know? And yeah, like I get it. I am the clown that people in the comments say. So we have no other course of action right now than to announce that today is Kevin's last day on the show. You know what? We're going to give you one more. Tomorrow night, the post-game show is Kevin's last day. And I hope you're happy, Sean. I hope this is what you want. Quite frankly, I hope you guys understand the power of your words on YouTube. You can't just come in here and tell me something. Kevin, put the goddamn comment back up on the screen. You can't come in here and tell me something like this as a mayor and not expect me to take actions. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to just let Kevin stay on this show? I'm supposed to what? Wait until the next time the Arizona Diamondbacks play the St. Louis Cardinals and make another bet with him and watch this team get swept and watch money out of my own pocket disappear because I have to buy this man lunch? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that's it. You guys have the power. You do the thing. You know how, you know that this is what happens when you guys make comments like this. So Kevin, do you have any words, considering now tomorrow night is your last night producing this podcast, since you're obviously not a fan of this team?
Yeah, no, I think tomorrow is going to be a great send-off, and I think it's been an honor and a privilege. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys in the chat that has, been flexible with me, I'll say, throughout this transition into being the Dbacks producer. And I hope it's not the end of the road with all of you. So I know the diehards.
It certainly is. That's the way this works.
With you,
this
Derek.
Isn't like an optioning situation, Kevin. I'm not optioning you to the Cardinals podcast. It's not even a DFA because you're going to clear waivers with other podcasts.
Wow.
And then you're just going to come back to this organization based on the fact you don't even love this organization? Are you kidding me?
I mean, look, Derek. I'll put it like this. If you really want me gone, I think there's a fireable offense in there somewhere with the fact that this team makes a improbable run to the World Series. It's being covered by this great podcast. Last year happens and I joined the pod and all of a sudden, things are going awry. You have Corbin Burns join. You're like, okay, maybe things aren't all bad. And then this year's Diamondbacks.
So what
team.
you're
So
saying?
I think
at a
what
point,
I'm saying is, I think we need to go to the PHNX bullpen.
At a point, we optioned Damon Dog to the Cardinals. Did we trade? I don't know how that worked. I feel like maybe he just opted out of his contract and signed with a different podcast, and then we picked you up as a free agent, right? Thinking like, hey, let's offer this guy a minor league deal. We'll see what he can do. You impressed us. You with your graphics and your timely knowledge of baseball when I didn't think, like, you just pop in and I'm like, Kevin knows about like outs above average. What is going on? This is great, right? You really did a great job for your time in this organization. However, it's a business of what have you done for me lately? Quite frankly, I brought up a list. There was a list that I was supposed to have. I asked you to create it. We haven't had the list.
I'm making you a list.
It was asked for weeks ago. We haven't had the list. I mean, it was a list. It was supposed to be a graphic. It was supposed to be a graphic on this show of the list. But there's other things. I mean, obviously, earlier in today's show, you left the TBD in there.
I mean, look,
you're not sharp, Kevin. It's not a matter of this is business. Look, it's not a personal thing.
Look, Shane took my sticky stuff away, and I'm trying to type on the keyboard, and my hands are slipping all over the place, and it's hard sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, Dbacks fan in Texas just called you the Jordan Lawlar of PHNX. And even I think that's too much. Even I think that's harsh. You've produced for this team, pal, on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, man, I'm gonna be the bigger man here, and I think we need to go to the pen. And honestly, Derek, we're gonna figure this out tomorrow. I'm gonna right all the wrongs with you, and I'm gonna right all the wrongs with this chat.
Okay.
And I'm gonna really set the record straight as to where I stand in regards to not only you, but this beat and this team. And I can't wait for it.
I can't say any more bad things about you because your mom's here now. And I'm not gonna get in trouble with your mom. I'm sorry, June. But anyway, that's what's happening. Tomorrow is Kevin's last day, and it's what you wanted. It's what you asked for. Sean McFarland 5419. So I hope you're happy. And I hope I gave you enough credit for ending this man's career with this baseball organization. But we will definitely be back tomorrow. So make sure to join us for that. We will be doing a post-game show tomorrow night. So make sure to join us for that. Before you go, we're going to get you to definitely kick Killer Rex out permanently. That's the last assignment before you get over here. But anyway, we do appreciate you guys being here. We will be back tomorrow, like I said, with a post-game show, to make sure to join us for that. And we're also going to see about kicking Kevin out of here permanently once and for all. Make sure to join us for Kevin's last show. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. This man, formerly known as Large Intimate Kevin Thomas, is now, I don't know, Kevo Post, I guess, something like that. I don't know. You want to go back to your old one? It doesn't really matter.
I think my old one, what was it? Cardinals fan 314.
Yeah, see, this is why he's gone. He's just confirming the reasons why he's gone. But anyway, we will be back tomorrow, like I said. So appreciate you guys so much for joining us. In the meantime, keep everything light, right? I mean, I've said earlier, try to not, I guess, maybe pay too much attention to baseball at times if it really drives you as nuts as it currently is driving all of us.
It drove Jacob Franklin so nuts that he felt the need to hop in the Wildcats chat this morning. Jacob Franklin, known ASU Sun Devil, hopped in the Wildcats chat to ask Damon about his take on the Snakes this morning.
Wow.
At 1 p.m. Just an hour before this show. He just couldn't wait. He just needed this. The team is driving him insane.
Yeah. That it's just on your brain so much.
He's got kids at home. They're driving him crazy probably. Now you got the baseball team. That's supposed to be your escape. And now they're driving you crazy. It's
definitely. Well, of course, like I said, we'll be back with tomorrow's show. So make sure not to drive yourself crazy with baseball. And make sure you also check out all the wonderful stuff that Kevin's going to be doing with his career. I don't know what's next for you, Kevin. Do you know?
I'll still be on Wildcats these days, I hear. I think Damon tried to fire me off of that yesterday. He opened the show by saying I've been let go. That's not true. I'm still here. They can't get rid of me. But Derek might be trying his best.
Yeah, well, Damon's not a mayor, so I don't know, but I'm pretty aware of the official paperwork to file. So we'll get that all taken care of tomorrow. But until then, once again, like I said, we appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. We will see you tomorrow night. Until then, behave yourselves. Jordan says picturing Derek walking up to the mound to tap him out, and crashing him out. Yes, Kevin, let's go. You're out of here, buddy. No, I'm going to sit back down. But appreciate you guys again. We will see you tomorrow. Till then, behave yourselves, do all that stuff, be good, and remember, kids, baseball is fun. But it's so much more fun when you're careful about the words that you say on Twitter and social media and leaving comments on YouTube, because they have real life ramifications. Kevin's a real man. You did this to him. Kevin's a real man. He's gone. He's out of here. So remember, watch what you say.
We all silly like the mayor.